Cole, I got to say, man, dude, shut your mouth and do your job. You're the quarterback. Who cares if they draft another quarterback? If you're better than him, beat him out. He wants all this job security. It's the NFL, man. Your job security is week to week.
Well, and I agree with you on that point, but at the same time, I think in Sam Bradford's case, he sees the writing on the wall.
He should.
he essentially sees that this is a tryout year, another tryout year, where he's ticked off. He wants to prove that he could play in this league. He pans out. He wants to look for a team that he could spend the next, say, 7 or 8 years with.
Yeah, but what has he proven so far?
He hasn't proven
that he's an average quarterback.
Yeah, but he's looking for a place to call home. And right now,
sometimes your career doesn't take you in that trajectory.
Well, yeah,
you know, and obviously the Eagles think they need to find a franchise quarterback. If they thought it was Sam Bradford, they wouldn't have traded up to the number 2 spot.
Oh, without a doubt. And I agree with the fact that I agree with the trade. I like the trade.
I like the trade, too. I mean, you have to in the NFL, you have to take a chance. If you think a guy can be a franchise quarterback, you got to do what you can to take that chance. I mean, you see who wins the Super Bowl every year, and it's not some no-name quarterback who got drafted in the 5th round. Obviously, Tom Brady's the exception to that rule. But generally speaking, it's a guy that teams went out and got in the draft. You see Peyton Manning, Roethlisberger, Flacco, Rodgers. These guys are franchise guys. And if you don't have that, you're the Dolphins. You're the Browns. You know what I mean?
Well, the Browns have been battling for a quarterback for about 20 years.
Right.
But you look at the other end of the trade with the Browns. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of draft picks, but let's look at their track record of drafting players.
Right.
They're working on RG3 now, which I think is quarterback, say, 17 since 99.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's great they got all these draft picks, but yet they're still going to find a way to screw up all these draft picks that they got. But Sam Bradford, going back to him, the Eagles could end up getting a lot more out of him trade-wise if he has one of those years everybody knows he's capable of, granted if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and now even more so, it looks like a good trade for the Eagles, considering the Josh Norman signing for the Redskins. I mean, you're going to need a quarterback you're facing some pretty tough defenses there in the NFC East. I mean, obviously, those teams didn't have great years last year, but, the Giants are doing some things to upgrade their defense. Washington, obviously. Cowboys, who knows? I mean, we don't know what's going on with them ever.
Yeah. And the Josh Norman signing, yeah, I get signing him, but I don't get giving him that kind of money. Everybody was up and on, and I'm not, don't take this.
Redskins give everybody money.
Well, yeah, that's true. They gave Albert Hainsworth 7 years, $100 million, and he lasted a year and a half. But with Josh Norman signing, and I'm not comparing him to Byron Maxwell, but everybody was up in arms about giving Byron Maxwell all of this money, $63 million. They give Josh Norman a 5-year, $75 million contract based off of one good year he had. I'm hoping for the Redskins' sake that, one, they needed a corner. They needed a safety bad, or a corner DB bad.
Sure, yeah.
But I hope for their sake that he pans out. He's in a right scheme fit. You always talk about these free agent signings that, they signed to this team, but they don't fit the scheme. Hence why Kiko Alonso got shipped out after 1 year to go to Miami, because now they're a 4-3 versus a 3-4. Josh Norman needs to play up to what his mouth is saying. And he thinks he's the top corner in the league. He needs to play like the top corner in the league. And he's going to go up against Odell Beckham twice a year. Dez Bryant twice a year.
Yep.
He's going to need to put his money where his mouth is. And that Redskins team now has a lot of personalities. Deshaun Jackson on one side of the ball, Josh Norman on the other.
That's going to be great practice, those two guys going at it.
I could just see it now once training camp starts.
There'll be a fight in the first week.
Absolutely. There's going to be maybe 2 or 3 fights between Josh Norman and Deshaun Jackson. Because remember, Josh Norman got in a fight with Cam Newton during practice in the training camp. during training camp.
Speaking of guys who like to run their mouths, what's your take on Conor McGregor? I got a little soft spot. He is an Irish guy from Ireland, so
the Nuna Clockers.
But if you haven't heard, he's basically pulled out of the UFC because he doesn't want to do all the promo work. He's off in like Iceland or something, doing some kind of Rocky training, some Rocky IV stuff going on. But my take is that the thing is, you are who you are because of the way you can promote yourself and the fight. I mean, maybe, I don't know what the contract says in terms of what he's responsible for in terms of the promotion, but man, that's how you make your money in UFC. Talking junk, getting under the other guy's skin. That's what it's all about. And it's just odd for me to, I guess his point is he spent too much time talking last time, whereas the other guy was hitting the gym. So he's kind of reversing his role a little bit. But, your career is so short in those kind of sports. You got to make as much money as you can.
Well, and there was rumors that he was upset because he wasn't getting enough money for the fight. And you see Dana White come out and said that, I don't know who wrote that article, that was not true at all, that he asked for more money. Now he just lost all this money because he's taken off the UFC 200 card. But for Conor McGregor's sake, every sporting event, whether it's the Super Bowl, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals, a huge UFC 200 fight, whatever the case may be, March Madness tournament, you have to promote yourself.
Sure, you're making money on pay-per-view, so you got to convince people to buy this thing for $50, $80 a pop.
Probably even more than that.
Yeah,
that fight's probably, $100, $120 a pop. You have to convince these people to spend that kind of money and not just say, I'll see the highlights in the morning or something like that.
Right.
Convince people to spend, let's face it, some of these fights last 13 seconds. They spend $120 to watch somebody get knocked out in 13 seconds.
Yep.
You need to promote yourself. If, say, for instance, Tom Brady didn't make himself available to the media during the Super Bowl.
Oh, that'd be an uproar.
Oh, it's complete uproar. You see Marshawn Lynch, he doesn't like talking to the media. Everybody knows that. He's getting fined left and right. You have to make yourself available to promote your event, make yourself available to the younger fans. The younger fans want to see you talk, want to see you answer questions. He, instead of retiring early and now coming out, he just lost a bunch of money by having this little meltdown.
He is definitely fun to watch. I know he bumped up 20 pounds to take on Diaz last time, and maybe that was a stretch for him. But I mean, when you're the face of that sport at the time being, take advantage. I don't see why you wouldn't want to take advantage of that. I mean, you're going to be forgotten in 4 or 5 years. Take advantage of it, pump it up, get it, get as much pay-per-view as you can. I don't understand why he's not doing that. Maybe he's thinking he talked too much last time and didn't spend enough time training. Who knows? But
well, even with that, the first time he went up against Diaz, he had to jump up 2 weight classes relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. He had a fight planned against somebody else. That guy got hurt. He now is like, okay, I'll jump up 2 weight classes to fight this guy in a short period of time. Now he's got all the time in the world to jump up 2 weight classes to fight Diaz now, and it's kind of funny just to see that he liked to run his mouth the first go around, and now he has all this time to prepare to fight him, and he fakes his retirement and now wants to fight again. I don't know if that was trying to gain some sort of mental edge on his side of things, a wake-up call for him. Like, I'm 27, I fight once every 6 months, and I make $5 million a fight. Let's rack up the money now before I call it quits. But I think McGregor's starting to kind of contradict himself a little bit. He was always this guy, this tough guy, never really cared too much, always ran his mouth and backed it up.
Yep.
Now I think he's starting to think like, hey, I ran my mouth a little too much last time.
I got knocked out.
And I got my butt whooped last fight. I got to kind of tone it down a little bit or turn up the throttle times 10 and just go out and dominate. And I think he's sort of in the in-between stage.
For selfish reasons, I'd love to see him be promoting the heck out of this fight. I love watching his press conferences.
Oh, they're great.
he's an all-time great trash talker. So
Yeah.
for selfish reasons, I'd love to see him out there promoting the fight. Some good stuff there on State Your Case.